Welcome, and thank you for joining me on the Path of the Seeker. Today we are covering Aries and the Crucible of Life. I wanted to cover this subject a bit more in depth. I mentioned it for a brief moment in my video regarding the first moon in the direction of air. However, there is a discrepancy between Paul Foster Case's symbol for calcination and the one D.W. Huck uses. For Huck, it is the symbol of the crucible that looks like the card in this slide. For Paul Foster Case, it is the same as the symbol for Aries. The clear and evident difference between the two is that one system is based on the zodiac, and the other is based on a system of 7. However, both are inverted triangles. Could it be that the Aries symbol isn't just a stylized depiction of a ram? Could it really be a crucible? What would that mean? As I explained in the Edgar Cayce material, it was during the age of Aries that spirit pushed itself into physical material reality, driving evolution through experimentation. Consciousness itself is probably the prime materia, but it's the consciousness of the one creator, or God, or source, or all that is, whatever name you want to call it by. I don't think that is what Aries symbolizes if it is a crucible. Paul Foster Case says that the Philosopher's Stone should be like wax when applied to red-hot iron. The language here is filled with metaphor. First, the Philosopher's Stone is the developed mind of the alchemist. Case nor Huck are shy about mentioning this in their books. Aries is ruled by Mars, and the metal of Mars is iron. I picked up that piece of sludge that you can see in this picture from my mines, and it has iron running through it, the red line, and the overall pinkish color. And it reminds me of unrefined Mars energy. This is the most common form of iron that you will see when you're out in the desert, especially near gold. And to me, that's what Aries season is, a raw, natural state. By applying the indigenous moons, we know that it belongs to the realm of air. That is the realm of ideas and imagination. The first month of the year, we usually fantasize about what is to come. It is a time of setting intentions or New Year's resolutions. Raw, natural, unrealized Mars energy is simply desire. That sort of raw, creative desire that seizes you and just won't let you go until you do something. I feel this way often and channel it into some creative act. Channeling raw, creative energy into art can really be a surprise. The same goes with writing. Now, while we are applying the system of 12 to the yearly cycle, it also applies to our life cycles. Our first few years of life correspond to Aries season and to the first bud's moon. Think of a child's mind. Their mind is like hot wax on iron. They have the most flexible minds that are easily molded. They will do an activity or watch the same thing over and over again until they memorize every lesson and detail. Back to the idea of the crucible. Life itself is a crucible for incarnating souls. We come here because we have a desire to experience physical life. Look at all the people who identify themselves as starseeds. They say they came here to face the challenge of basically changing timelines to prevent the catastrophic earth changes that were predicted to come at the end of the age. Many souls have come into the earth plane hoping to help or master physical reality. They answered the call to adventure. Yet if you believe in the life in between lives, near-death experiences or out-of-body experiences that have been reported, you know that souls are completely changed by the experience. Souls are reduced to their most basic form of consciousness through physical experience. They discover not only are they separate entities from divinity, but they have flaws that make them different from others. And they also have strengths that make them different from others. The strange thing is that souls have become trapped when they think that physical materiality is all there is, and that they are the physical body. So they answer the call to adventure, but because they forgot what they are doing here, they are lost within the concepts of being a physical body, and all they can focus on is the experience of being in physical material reality. This concept also explains why ghosts exist. Oftentimes, ghosts are spirits or souls that refuse to move on. They refuse to go into the realm of spirit. And they prefer to stay here, reenacting the very thing that led to their death, if it was traumatic, or protecting a house. They simply can't let go of the physical material reality experience. So they're stuck either in a loop or they're stuck to an object that they are afraid to let go of, for fear that they will no longer exist if they do. Or perhaps because they're just possessive of the item, especially if it's a house. Now, the thing is that they're these type of people who become so focused on physical material reality. They're the ones who don't answer the call of adventure. They're the ones that Joseph Campbell referred to as trapped within a mundane world, feeling as though they are a victim. And a lot of souls don't seem to realize that they have options other than Earth. And that is the crucible that is physical material reality. This is a physical crucible for us. It, on a soul level, completely melts us down to literally ash, so that we have to recreate ourselves through experiences until finally we become individuated beings. Not that I think that individuation is the entire purpose of incarnation. A lot of what I think is the purpose of incarnation has to do with just simply having the experiences. If the Aries symbol is a crucible in disguise, it is absolutely brilliant. Even when applied to a yearly cycle, we could see it as starting off with the ashes from the previous year. If we look at it from the bigger picture perspective, it would be incarnation with the ashes from previous lives or recently leaving the spiritual realm and being reduced down to being an infant again. Either way, life itself is a crucible. We burn with desire to be in the physical form, to experience eating and drinking or being with others. As we grow older, we tend to become more fixed in our views. By the young age of 8, psychologists tell us that we have the framework of how the world works down. By the time someone graduates college, they think they have the entire world figured out. Some of us learn, and most people I think, somewhere around 40, that there is a lot we don't know. Somewhere along the way, maybe we were lucky and stepped onto the path of the seeker and started practicing making a more flexible mind. For some unfortunate souls, their mind becomes so fixed that they actually lose progress and development as souls. I've met a few who simply stopped having new experiences at some point because they were so certain they knew everything. That grumpy old man stereotype is the epitome of an inflexible mind lost in yesteryear and not present in the now. Sadly, Edgar Cayce would say that souls that became that leaden actually lost in experiences during their incarnation instead of gained. In many cases, they have to repeat the same lessons in their next life if that's the case. Luckily, you're here, which means you have a flexible mind. The fun thing is that we know as we progress through the upcoming stages, we are going to change our state of being and consciousness. Each month, we will be in a new stage of development. And with that 13th moon, we may even be, in a way, able to stop the continuous 12 cycle and step onto the path of the 7, the path of the seeker. Well, that's all I have for you now. I hope you enjoyed this diversion on the path of the seeker. Bye for now.
Stand by.